Hello, welcome to the Millionaire Woman Show, where we'll be discussing leadership, business, and human potential, inspiring you to live rich from the inside out. Unlock your creativity, stretch out of your comfort zone, break through your barriers, take inspired action, and achieve epic results. Now, here's your host, two-time best-selling author, speaker, and certified executive coach, Deborah Kasowski.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Millionaire Women Show, where we talk about leadership, business, and human potential. And I am super excited because I've been following this gentleman for quite a while. Best-selling author, keynote speaker, Jon Gordon's best-selling books have inspired readers and audiences from around the world. His principles have been put to test by numerous NFL, NBA, NLB coaches and teams, Fortune 500 companies, school districts, hospitals, nonprofits. He is the author of numerous best-selling books, including The Energy Bus, The Carpenter, Training Camp, The Seed, You Win in the Locker Room First, and The No Complaining Rule. Jon and his tips have been featured on The Today Show, CNN, CNBC, the Golf Channel, Fox and Friends, and numerous magazines and newspapers. His clients include the Los Angeles Dodgers, the Atlanta Falcons, Campbell Soup, Dell, Publix, Southwest Airlines, LA Clippers, Miami Heat, Pittsburgh Pirates, BB&T Bank, Clemson Football, Northwest Mutual, Bayer, West Point Academy, and more. Jon is a graduate of Cornell University and holds a master's in teaching from Emory University, and his training consulting company are passionate about developing positive leaders, organizations, and teams. And don't forget, you can connect with Jon on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Welcome to our show, Jon.
Thanks for having me. Usually don't have to read all that bio, though. That's just for web purposes.
I find it exciting because, I have some football people in my household, and I actually got my son to read one of your books, and he goes, Mommy says it exactly how it is. So I'm really excited to share that with everybody who I meet. So I'm really curious as to what drew you to the work of positivity.
I think we teach what we need to learn. I wasn't naturally positive. I had to work really hard at it. And ultimately, I wanted more of it in my life. My wife said I was miserable. I was negative. I needed to change. This was like in my late 20s, around 31 years old. And my life was falling apart in many ways around me. So I was positive when I was young, allowed the stress of life and all the negativity to get the best of me, and got really negative. And so I wanted to be more positive. As my wife gave me that ultimatum, it was really the impetus that set me off on this journey to become a more positive person and then to do this work.
Yeah. So I'm curious, when I read The Energy Bus, does that have anything to do with you?
Oh, yeah. So I'm glad you asked. And actually in the No Complaining Rule, I talk about in the intro about how George was based on me. So he was really easy to write about. So his journey of going from negative to positive is a journey that I had to go on to become more positive and to do the work that I do now.
So why do you think it is that it is so easy to fall into the trap of negativity?
Because there's just so much negativity in the world, because the ultimate battle every day is between fear and faith. That's why. And so it's this human journey of overcoming fear, finding faith on this journey, trusting in God on your life path. And ultimately, that's the journey that every one of us is on. A lot of people don't realize that's the journey. They don't understand. But once you understand how the game is played, that it's a battle between fear and faith, fear and love, and you see that playing out, and that fear is a liar. Fear is outside, but love is truth, and love is inside. And we create inside out. And once you understand that, then you can truly live a life of power, love, joy, peace, and incredible relationships.
Yeah, because that's where that phrase is. I know in my coaching training that I've done myself, one of the things is my journey is trust the process, detach from the outcome. And that is a challenging thing, but how you say that fear and faith definitely fits into that.
Right. I love that. Trust the process, focus on the process, embrace the process, do the work every day. Just show up and keep doing the work. Don't worry about the fruit. Keep investing in the root. And if you keep investing in the root, what's going to happen? You will get great fruit.
Yeah. So I've read several of your books, including The Energy Bus, The No Complaining Rule, which I got here. We'll show everybody a cover. And I'm already digging in and flab tagging the Positive Leadership book, The Power of Positive Leadership. But the one thing that I think about, because I've been accused of it myself, of being, Deb, you got the rose-colored glasses on. But although people say they understand the concept of positive leadership, have you had to deal with any resistance of people saying, that's ideal? You're wearing rose-colored glasses.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. It's something I actually addressed in the back of the book. I wanted people to know on the back cover right away that this is not Pollyanna positive. This is not just about rainbows and unicorns. This is about dealing with the real issues of our lives, about dealing with the negativity that exists, and then overcoming that negativity, overcoming adversity to ultimately create the life you were born to live, to help others create the lives that they were born to live. And knowing that pessimists really don't change the world. Naysayers talk about problems, but they don't solve them. Complainers complain, but they don't focus on solutions. Critics write words, but they don't write the future. Ultimately, throughout history, if you study history, you look at who changed the world, who transformed teams and organizations, it was the positive leaders. It was the inventors, the doers, the dreamers, the believers, the positive leaders who believed in a brighter and better future. And then they took the actions necessary to create it. So this is the real stuff that makes great leaders great. And it's a framework of 9 principles, 9 traits, 9 key sort of areas of practice that you can focus on to be a great leader. If you do these 9 things, if you focus on them, you're going to have incredible results because it's proven. And these principles are based on real stories, real people, and real research that makes the difference. Also, you had Training Camp in there. I saw him as one of the pictures. That's my favorite book I've written, actually.
Yeah.
Love that book. Even though it's a story about an NFL player trying to make it in the NFL and gets injured and a coach takes him under his wing. So many women, tell me they love that book. They really resonate with them because it's this journey of leadership, I believe, that we have to all go on to overcome our fear, find our faith to ultimately create the future, tying that back into positive leadership. That's what positive leaders do. Training Camp's also about excellence, and positive leaders pursue excellence on their journey.
Yeah, I have actually gifted that book to family members who are in scouting for or a coach for a team. So I know it's how valuable it is, but also for anybody to do better. And that's what it's all about. So in what ways have you navigated these conversations to be open to the concept? I know there's the power of story, but when you face that resistance, when you're dealing with people one-on-one or in a group, how are you addressing that resistance?
Well, I'm brought in by all these different companies and organizations and sports teams. So basically, I step in and right away, I'm talking about the power of positive leadership. I talk about great examples of positive leadership, people who have done it, lived it. Then I'm sharing the research. Then I'm sharing the practices. Then I'm sharing why this matters. By the time I'm done, I've made the case for positive leadership. And I think that pretty much deals with the resistance. Now, I'll always get, one question from, someone that says, well, what happens if you deal with this situation or that situation? Well, then we address it and we talk about it. But there is a solution, like, for instance, negativity. Positive leaders identify negativity. They confront it. They try to transform it. That's the goal. Let's transform it. And then they remove it if they can't transform it. So there's a process to deal with negativity that I write about that's very real. So I've had very little resistance after making my case and sharing it. Beforehand, maybe, but the best thing is when I get that email from someone, and someone the other day that said, I thought this book was going to be one thing, and it was completely different than what I expected, and it was so much better. I thought it was going to be rose-colored glasses. I thought it was going to be all these positive affirmations, but it's so grounded in reality, and that's what my goal was with this book, because I'm grounded in reality, because I'm naturally negative, because I have to work to be positive. First chapter is from negative to positive, so people really connect with the realness of it.
Yeah. And for anybody listening or watching this on YouTube, there are tangible strategies that John gives in all of his books that you can start implementing every day. It's not something that, oh, well, when I get to be positive that I can do this. It's those little steps that you take.
Very much so. I love how, you're talking about abundance and more joy and more peace and more love in people's lives. And that's what it's all about. It's like, as you start to practice these things and work to become a more positive person, you attract so many more people and opportunities and things to you. Now, I do say in the book that being positive doesn't guarantee you'll succeed, but being negative will guarantee you won't. And so positivity and positive leadership give you a greater chance to do it. And people say, oh, well, John, you're just so positive because you're a successful writer and this and that, and you do all these speaking. No. I do all these things and I've become successful because I transform from negative to positive. That's why.
That's so awesome. And I have to tell you, I know on your website you have the positive pledge. I've had members of a team that I've worked with, they recite it every day. Oh, wow. So that they set the tone for their day. So it's really helpful. Communication is the key in building trust. The power of positive leadership, where you talk about where there is a void in communication, negativity will fill that space. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. I mean, just one of the reasons why teams break down, organizations break down, and marriages break down, because of poor communication. Because where there's that void in communication, negativity will fill it. So we always have to make sure we're filling that void with positive communication, because communication builds trust. Trust generates commitment. Commitment fosters teamwork, and teamwork delivers results. So it's about making sure we're communicating to build that relationship. And the relationship we create, those relationships we create in our organizations are what builds great teams and ultimately great companies, great businesses, great schools. It's all about communication. It starts there.
Yeah, and it's that positive communication and filling that space.
Right, and again, positive communication doesn't mean that you're never going to say anything negative. Positive teams fight. In marriages, we fight. I'm married 20 years, just 2 days ago, celebrated 20 years. My wife is, Irish, we fight. She doesn't drink. She just doubles up on the fighting. So when you understand that, marriage is part of love and fighting and all that good stuff, it's par for the course. You're going to have disagreements, but how do you work it out? And do you have trust? And do you have love? And if you have trust and love, then the fighting actually serves the relationship in the long run, because you grow from it if you have trust and love. So it's really about the communication that we're using to build that trust, and knowing that positive means constructive. It means addressing the problems. It means that if there is negativity or there is a problem, you address it in a positive way, where you don't get negative about negativity.
Yeah. And that's a huge difference. It's about making it a healthy communication, because even conflict is good. At least you're talking.
Right, exactly. If you have the right intention with the conflict and use it for growth.
Absolutely. So how can leaders ensure that they are communicating enough and there's not too much communication?
I don't think you can have too much communication. I think you could have too much venting. You could have too much meaningless communication, but you can't have enough communication about where we are, where we're going, what needs to be done, and communicating the vision, communicating the purpose, communicating why we exist and what we need to do. That's communication that needs to happen ongoing. So the key is the leaders need to make sure that they're communicating, and making sure they're communicating in such a way that develops relationships, that enhances connections, and that builds unity. That's the key. So I'm a big fan of emails, broad emails, letting people know what's going on. I'm a big fan of communication like this, more using video Skype and Zooms and so forth to actually communicate and have FaceTime with people.
Yeah.
One-on-one is so important. We need more one-on-one communication. As a leader, you can only probably communicate well with maybe 12 people. So you have to, if you lead 12, you have to communicate with those and make sure that those 12 are now communicating with the people that they lead and so forth down the organization. That's important. If you're a manager, you need to make sure that your frontline folks are communicating with customers, but you have to communicate with the people that are communicating with your customers. So it's this ongoing communication to make sure that we're building the relationships and having the great lines of communication that are open to build the great teams. But if you don't communicate enough like that, no one knows what they're doing. Not everyone's on the same page, and you don't have alignment. So it's important that we're always communicating in that way and finding all various ways to do it.
And that lends itself to that company culture, or even in culture within the teams. Positive leadership is important in leading others. How can leaders help their teams become unstoppable, even if they are working within an organization or a business?
Simple. Believe in them more than they believe in themselves. Encourage them. Truett Cathy said, how do you know if a man or a woman needs encouragement? If they're breathing. We all need encouragement. So make sure that we are encouraging people. Make sure that we are always pointing people towards their greatest potential rather than their limitations. If people are making mistakes, if they're failing, help them grow, help them learn, help them improve. If they need to be in another position, then do that if they're failing in their position. But encouragement and positive leadership and praise and recognition and just believing in them more than they believe in themselves, seeing what they're capable of. That's how we help them become unstoppable.
If there was one final message that you needed to leave our audience, because I know that we've come to the end of our interview, what would that one message be?
Well, my daughter wrote her college essay. She is now almost 19 years old. She's a freshman in college, actually going to be a sophomore already next year. And in her essay, she said, when I was young, my mom struggled with her health and my dad struggled with himself. She said, but I watched as my dad worked to become a more positive person. And then he started doing this writing and speaking, started sharing this message with others. And I saw other people become more positive. And if they can become positive and he can change, then I believe the world can change. And you better believe it brought tears to my eyes because I saw how my one decision to be a more positive person and a positive leader not only impacted me, but my family, my daughter, my marriage, my relationships, and now my work. And so here's what I know, and I want to leave people with this. That being positive, it doesn't just make you better. It makes everyone around you better. And I believe that we can all start today, and that's what I'm passionate about.
Yeah. Thank you so much, John, for sharing your wisdom with us. I wish I could talk to you for hours, but maybe at another time. But I'm so grateful that you are here. And I know that your legacy is going to continue to share this positivity with the world. One final thing is, how can people stay in touch with you or get some of your books?
Oh, sure. They can just go to jongordon.com, JON Gordon.com. At John Gordon 11 on Twitter and Instagram, at JON Gordon 11 Instagram and Twitter, and then also I'm on Facebook. John Gordon page is my fan page. I hate that term fan page, like fan, but that's where a lot of people will find me, and I post a lot of great stuff and a lot of messages and inspiration and so forth and videos. So John Gordon page, JON Gordon page, and hope to connect with people. If people have a challenge, if you're dealing with an issue, if there's something that you're looking for in your life to help grow, just connect with me there, and I hope it provides what you need. I do respond to people if they have a challenge, so I do actually respond if people reach out in that way. But if you're interested in training or speaking or any of those kind of things, please go to my website.
Excellent. John, if you have to pop off, I'm okay with that. I'm just going to do the closing here. Again, thank you, John, for coming on the show. Hey, everyone, that's a wrap for the Millionaire Woman Show, where we help you use those principles of leadership, business, and human potential so you can live your life rich from the inside out. Go to my website at www.deborahkozowski.com to sign up for our newsletter, grab some great content. The podcasts and blogs are all on there. Don't forget to go to John's website, check it out, and snag some of his books, because I tell you, they are very powerful, and not just powerful and positive, but there's so many tangible pieces that I know that you can take away and start implementing to create that change in your life. Because we have so many negative thoughts in a day, and all it takes is one simple shift to really change it out. So as Muhammad Gandhi said, go out and be the change you wish to see in the world. And my message for you is make today great. Take care, everyone.